Beyond the specifics of the individual cases, which the Director General and his team will present shortly, there are a number of general lessons or conclusions that I think we must take very seriously. The number one lesson from these cases is that the lack of a modern, digital, integrated system to process all applications, adjudications and communication at Home Affairs is the root cause of the threat to national security that we face in this sector. The common denominator that you will see across all of these presentations is that Home Affairs systems are vulnerable to fraud, corruption and discretion because they are outdated, antiquated, paper-based, manual and therefore open to subversion. You will see how Libyan nationals obtained visas that were written by hand. How can South Africa regard ourselves as a serious nation when we still allow entrance into our country based on handwritten documents that frankly even a child could forge? You will see how visa applications were processed even though they did not contain all of the requisite documentation. How can South Africa regard ourselves as a serious nation when we refuse to embrace something as simple as online applications, which will never even allow a user to click submit if an application is not complete?
You know, to carry on from yesterday's video where I said I am glad that the Chidimma Adetshina issue happened, and I'm also grateful for that fact that there was some arrogance from her side of the family, and I think at some point she knew what was happening. She might have known before the competitions, and she also still chose to, you know what, I'm going to go compete in Nigeria if they don't want me to compete in South Africa, which is a bit of self-centeredness, but it exposed what needed to be exposed. And it's quite funny that with this exposure, at the very same time, on the other side, we have Leon Schreiber, who is doing as much as he possibly can to improve the systems that are within Home Affairs, the systems that we use in terms of applications of papers, being your ID, your birth certificate, your visas, your passports. And he has spoken, as you have seen, a lot about the fact that we need to digitize the system. And with the system being digitized, we have less fraud, we have less criminality happening, because you can't actually 100% fraudulently make or create papers if a computer is there and machine learning is what is doing all of the processes, similar to what is happening with SARS. Because with SARS, you can automatically get audited if the system or the algorithm pick up something that doesn't look right, and instantly you will be audited. So if we have that kind of a system with Home Affairs, and I think honestly with all the government systems, it's very important for this to actually happen. Because how many times have you been to Home Affairs, Traffic Department or any other government department and you had to get your papers done, processed, or you needed to do some things and you just hear the line, system offline? We've had system offline. Oh, there was a time where system offline was actually even an online joke. And it's a joke that we have to have something of that sort happening in such a developed country such as South Africa. And at some point I was thinking to myself, well, to digitize the space or government, it would be very expensive. And I don't know if South Africa has the funds. But South Africa does actually have the funds, because you will remember with the list that Gayton McKenzie exposed, somebody was given 20 million to buy a building, and these were funds that were supposed to be given to creatives and people in sports. So clearly South Africa does have the funds to do better, and unfortunately it took having different leaders being in power to actually show that we have, the problems have always been there, but it took different leaders to actually show that these problems can be found. They can be found because they are done by people. Dean Macpherson had found 300 million rands missing through cybercrime in his department. Leon Schreiber is finding all these problems happening in his department. Gayton McKenzie also found the problems happening in his department. And we needed different leaders. There's someone on one of my YouTube channels who commented that maybe we need more white leaders because clearly black leaders can't do a good job. I don't fully believe that it's that we need more white people to be leaders. We do have good black leaders. It's just that when you are working amongst people who are intentionally competent and lazy because they just want to eat, it is very difficult for you to do your job properly, because then that actually makes you to lose your position within that political space. And you will see this when ANC was complaining earlier on in this GNU, which is a grand coalition, they were complaining that DA leaders and other leaders were making them look bad. But this comment of this guy makes a bit of sense because Leon Schreiber is white, Dean McPherson is white, Piet Groenewald is white. The only black leader that seems to be doing anything, and nowadays maybe I'm paying a bit less attention, he's no longer that loud online, but I think he will be again, is Gayton McKenzie. But so far, the people who are at the forefront being spoken of a lot for doing good work has been white leaders. So it is quite telling as to that mentality from that guy, and why it also makes a bit of sense to me, although I do think that there are enough good black leaders out there who can also do a good job. So we just need those people to do their work and things will be better. But I'm really glad what is happening right now. I'm really glad that Leon Schreiber is getting so much attention, because a lot more will be done that will assist the system. And they also want to hire a wing that deals with immigration, illegal immigration or legal immigration. So that will be improvements that will be happening. So 5 years from now, we should see a bit of improvements. But if the technology is actually not implemented, we'll still have the same problems. And to quote Dean McPherson, he will say that if we keep on continuing with this paper-based system, we will continue putting out fires instead of dealing with the source of the fire. So 5 years from now, we'll still have the same problems. And he's quite correct. So let us just see as time goes. But what is happening right now, it is opening my eyes. And I think with my eyes being opened the way they are being opened, it leads me to the question of, come the next national elections, who am I voting for? Am I going to have to look at the color of their skin? Am I going to have to look at their policies and see what they have actually done in the past, because they've had a track record? In the past 30 years, ANC has built a track record. For me, they will never get my vote, clearly. And at the moment, I'm looking at other political parties who should get my vote, and the track record will speak for itself. Honestly, that's what I'm going to be doing. So yeah, let me know what you think. Let's have a conversation. If you made it this far in this video, please share it with somebody who may also benefit from watching this, and like the videos and subscribe. Yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Salut.